It's an international significant site because of its biodiversity. It's the largest freshwater wetland in Jamaica and the second largest in the Caribbean. Cuba has the largest one. It has a very high level of endemism, and in 2011-2012, we had done a knowledge, attitude, and practices survey. So the problem that we were finding in the Black River Lower Morass based on the results of the survey was that, one, persons did not know much about the environment, neither did they value the importance of the biodiversity that was found within the Black River Lower Morass. Persons were also actively moving invasives from one location to another, as well as introducing it into adjoining ecosystems. The Black River Lower Morass is what we call shrimp country back home. And so that's one of the largest income earners in the area. And we have present in Jamaica an invasive, the Australian red claw crayfish. And it is proliferating within the Black River Lower Morass. And because it grows larger than our freshwater shrimp, then a lot of us are of the opinion that bigger is better. And so you had persons who were taking the shrimp from one water system and introducing it into other river systems just so that they would be able to catch them and sell them as well. We also found that the residents within the area were not disposing of their pets in the most environmentally friendly manner. I should go back just a little bit. This whole social marketing campaign came about as a part of our midterm evaluations for the invasive alien species project. And so all 5 countries came to Trinidad in September of 2012, and we were given training on social marketing by a wonderful facilitator from St. Lucia who had gotten the training on the RARE project. And so we were tasked as countries to go back to your individual countries, develop a plan, and implement it there. So this is our plan. So the goal of our social marketing campaign is to raise the level of awareness of residents within the Lower Morass about the importance of their biodiversity, the impact that invasive alien species were having, as well as poor environmental practices. We decided to do an overarching campaign, meaning not just focus on invasives, because the lack of awareness about the importance of the environment is such a bigger issue. And if it is that you get persons to start caring more about the environment, by virtue of that, they're also going to care about invasive alien species. And so we felt it was better to target them from the larger perspective, getting them to care about the environment. So our target group, this is a map of the Black River Lower Morass. Our target group, there are 18 communities that border and are within the Lower Morass. But of course, we couldn't target all 18 for the campaign, so we picked 6, and they're all listed there. We also wanted to target local fisherfolk, farmers, schools, and nature-based businesses. The Black River Lower Morass is very popular for tours, for boat tours of the morass. So the partnership, there were several agencies who we had to have on board. We could not do this as a project without the Institute of Jamaica. They were responsible for providing all our biodiversity information on the Black River, as well as making the linkage for us between the culture, the heritage, and the folklore of the area and the environment. The Social Development Commission, they're Jamaica's chief entity with responsibility for dealing with social issues. And so they helped us to mobilize the communities together, get them to come out to the focus group meetings, and also to provide guidance to us, because this is an area that the project didn't have a presence in before. So you know that when you are seen as a stranger coming in, you need to have that interface to help you to allow the community persons to open up to you. And so the officers from the Social Development Commission were perfect in this regard. And of course, the Ministry of Education to let the schools know, yes, it's okay for you to participate and encourage principals, because there are so many other activities that schools can be involved in. So when you go through the Ministry of Education, to have their ministry say to them as schools, this is an activity that we sanction, we know about it, and we're encouraging you to participate. It was so much easier getting into the schools. Then, of course, the St. Elizabeth Parish Council, they had to give us the necessary permits to do our public awareness activities and also to assist us with some of our logistics. And we had one major private sector partner, that's South Coast Safaris Limited, and that's where our interpretive center is actually hosted, free of cost. So, the community-based actions, we started out with focus group meetings. So we did this survey in 2011, 2012. We got all this information, but we needed to validate that information because it was now October 2012, and the survey was done almost a year ago. So we needed to ensure that the information was still actually valid. So we had a series of focus group meetings where we went to the communities, we basically gave them back the information to say, we came into your community, we did this survey, here is what we found out. Because a lot of times what we do is we go and we do surveys as especially government entities, we collect the information, but we never share it. We never give it back to the community, so they're not even aware of what's happening. And so we went, we gave the information back to them. We said, is this still true? They said yes. Then we introduced the project to them, and we told them about the issues that they were having. And then we said, how is it that we can help you? Tell us how to help you improve your condition. And so we got a myriad of ideas, and we came up with 3 main things that we wanted, that the community wanted us to implement as a part of the campaign. The first one was our Enviro Roadshow, which was held on the 30th of November 2012. We had 4 thematic areas. Something about communicating IAS is that you have to pull or tug at people's hearts. They have to have some kind of emotional response in order to get them to bring about behavioral change. And so we knew that Black River was an area that had tons of history, tons of heritage, a lot of folklore. It was the first place in Jamaica to get electricity. It got electricity even before New York City. It's the first place in Jamaica to have a bank, to have a racetrack. There were so many firsts that were special about Black River. And so we thought that, you know, this is how we need to get them to care. So we went and we had 4 thematic areas. So we bragged to them and big them up about all the first things that they've done and how special their heritage and their folklore was, you know, just to get the emotional part of it going. And then we broached it with the significance of the biodiversity. So you have all these things that are found nowhere else, only in Black River, nowhere else in the world. And we told them about the fact that they were a Ramsar site, and that means that Little Black River in Little Jamaica was seen as being significant to the whole entire world. And you know, you had to sell it to them in such a way that they were attached, and then they started feeling good about that, and they said, okay, yes, we should care about the environment. And then we said, look, invasive alien species are impacting negatively on your biodiversity, the thing that is so important. And then they started getting on board, and then we said, okay, so you know that you have all these important things going on. You know that you have all this significant biodiversity. You know that invasive alien species are negatively affecting all your important stuff. You have to do something about it. So that's where the community responsibility came in. So we told them, you know, what they can do as community persons to help. And then we moved, the next activity was the Enviro Expo and Sports Day. Something that we had found from the initial KP that was done showed that there was a huge lack of information. Like, majority of the persons who were surveyed felt that they did not know enough about the environment. And so an expo had to be done because they were not the type of persons who would listen to radio and watch TV and whatever. They liked meetings, they liked face-to-face. And so we had to do an expo, but we couldn't just do an expo alone because they probably wouldn't come. So we said, all right, how are we going to get them to come? So we attached a sports component. So we had 6 communities, and we said, all right, guess what? We're going to have netball, football, dominoes, and athletics. And all 6 communities are going to be competing against each other for who is going to be the champion community. And everybody was excited, and the football teams were ready, and the netball teams were ready. And we said, okay, it's on the 5th of December. And they came. And then the last thing we had was they wanted to have some lasting memento, something that they could always have as a community to remind them, just in case they forgot, of all the important things that they have going for them as a community and what they could do to continue to protect their biodiversity. And so on the 7th of February, we unveiled what they named Black River's Treasures. So for the roadshow, as I said, we got our big noisy truck and we were all over the town of Black River talking about environment and all the things that were special. We had a concert at the end, so we got a few popular artists to come and do music and whatever. And the most important thing about this roadshow is meeting persons where they are. So we were in the fish market. Some of these pictures are from the fish market. We were on the roadside. We were in the bus stop. Wherever persons were, we went to them with the message. And so they were more accepting and open to receiving that message because it didn't interfere with their day. They didn't have to take a taxi to go somewhere to get the message. We took the message directly to them and they were so happy and they were so proud. For X1 Sports Day, we did our booths and persons came, we got the schools out, they all participated. For the sports components, like I said, we had dominoes, we had football, we had netball, and of course we had what we called our Enviro relay. Now it wasn't just a regular relay, we had all age groups. So the first leg was for somebody who was in primary school, the second leg was for somebody who was in high school, the third leg was for someone who was between 20 and 30, and then the final leg was for someone who was over 30. And this lady here, she was very proud to tell me her age. She was 67. And you should have seen her running. Usain Bolt had nothing on her when it was her time to make her way to the finish line. And at each leg, we asked them an environmental question, whether it was about IAS, something special about Black River. And then if they answered the question correctly, then they advanced to the next round. And that's how we did it. Just to reinforce that they're doing their sports, but at the same time, we're reinforcing and ensuring that they learned something about biodiversity. And of course, you can't have a sports day and not have awards. So we just did simple medals that we gave to them and trophies just to recognize them for the work that they had done. And it turned out that Black River proper was the winning community of our sports day. So the biodiversity display, it started out as a figment of our imagination. This is what we wanted it to look like. And after a lot of hard work, we were able on the 7th of February to launch, in commemoration of World Wetlands Day, our Black River's Treasure display. It's still, there are some elements that still needs to go into it, but essentially what it does, it captures all their ecosystems and a lot of the important animals that are found within that ecosystem. In addition to that part of it, there is several posters that are mounted throughout the entire area. So it reminds them of what a wetland is, what's a Ramsar site. It tells them about biodiversity, plant biodiversity, animal biodiversity. It tells them about invasive alien species. And most importantly, it leaves a message with them. What is it that you can do to continue to preserve your biodiversity? Again, for public awareness, we had a wide gamut of materials that we used. So we had flyers that looked at the red claw crayfish, what you can do to help. We made special notebooks for the kids that they could use at school. So on the outside, but on the inside, it had information on the back covers about the various invasive alien species that were found within the Black River Lower Morass. We made the t-shirts, we made bags. And just to plug, there is an exhibit in the room to the end of the hall. So all of this stuff is there on display, not just for Jamaica, but Trinidad, Barbados, who else? Sorry, Bahamas. Where I get Barbados from? Bahamas. We're all on display down there. So please, if you haven't already checked it out, you need to go down and see the display. We did have some challenges. It was not all smooth sailing. Resource constraints limited the number of agencies that we had participating in a lot of our activities. They simply didn't have the money to do it. They were competing activities. It was December, so it was close to Christmas time, and there was all this other stuff going on. We had Black River is a funny little town, so we had issues finding the most central location for some of our activities, and we had within the 6 communities varying denominational beliefs. So we had 2 communities that were Seventh-day Adventists, which means nothing could be held on a Friday, nothing could be held on a Saturday. And we know that Friday and Saturday are the most popular days to have stuff. So we had to have things in the week, which kind of took away from our crowd, but I do believe that it was all worth it. In 2011, 2012, when we did the first KP, persons, when they were asked about knowledge about environment and its care, 53% of respondents showed that they simply did not know enough about the environment. When we did our survey at the end of last year, we found that that number, 53%, had decreased to 29%. So our campaign did raise the level of awareness about in the respondents regarding knowledge about the environment. When it came to invasives, it was even worse. 89% of persons could not demonstrate an understanding of invasive alien species. They had no sweet clue. When you asked them about invasive, they were like, what? Something from outer space? Like, that's what they thought when they heard alien. But by the end of the project, 91% of the persons who we surveyed were able to accurately depict what invasive alien species were. So despite all the challenges, for us, it was absolutely worth it. And I must say, thanks to Team IAS, they're not here, but I had to put a picture in there because I could not have done any of this without my team. So thanks, team. Thank you.